Hi, Markus.
Hello, Heiko. Hi, folks.
Yeah, here we are back again. Thanks for everybody who's joining to our Ask Me Anything session. Is it the fifth one? I'm not sure. Is it
I,
fifth one?
yeah,
It's
I was thinking too. If this is the fifth or the fourth? No, it's the fourth. No,
well,
I'm not
it's the
sure.
one for today, right? And we and
Yes.
we already planned the one for the next one already. So keep we keep you posted. And by the way, I will put in the link to the form where you can put in your questions. So we have this form where you guys can send us your questions up front. And of course, while the session is on, you can always use the chat functionality, especially in YouTube. And
Yes.
so ask questions directly so we can interact with you and answer hopefully the things that you want to know from us. And so did actually one of our customers did ask a question, which I think we want to start with, right, Markus?
Yes. Yeah, we want to start with the first question. So it was asked via the formula during the last session, and we missed it during the session. So we promised to answer it in this question in this session. And the question is from Andre, and he asks, is there any way to cache the PowerShell modules in ScriptRunner to start the actions faster? Okay, so there is no direct way to cache modules to start the actions actually faster, but there are other methods to increase the script runner performance regarding actions or queries and something like that.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So maybe for people who are not familiar with what are actions, maybe a short so that people know. So when we talk about actions or script runner actions, this is the use case. This is what you want to automate and delegate, things like spinning up a new VM, creating new user, changing permissions, group membership, and stuff like that. So that's what we call action. So this is what you interact with when you want to do something.
So you can in ScriptRunner you can take your credentials, your target and queries and scripts and all that stuff, and you pack it together to an action, and then you can fire it against other systems.
Yeah, and then another thing maybe also to mention that is that if you want to manage, let's say, for example, something in Office 365, you can decide what kind of endpoints you want to manage with this particular target, as we call them. And based on what you select there,
Yes.
more or less commandlets and modules are being loaded, which also, of course, affects the performance. And so I think this is something that we could show a little bit, maybe.
Yeah, sure.
Shall we share your screen, Markus?
Yeah, sure.
Or
I'm prepared.
okay. So I'm putting that into the stream.
Okay, so what you can see here is our admin web interface. So it's the current one. In the future, there will be another web interface called Portal, ScriptRunner Portal. But all the admin stuff is currently still in our admin web interface, in our admin app, and what you can do is, these are the targets, and if you go on create, several options to create a target here. And what Heiko mentioned with Microsoft 365 services, this is this option here. So you can click on next, and then you can set up a display name here. So I guess my Bluetooth keyboard has canceled its connection. So just give me a second. we call it just test here, and you can select your credentials to connect to this target. And on the other side of the dialog, you can choose the target or the Microsoft 365 service you want to connect to. So currently there are the Azure Active Directory, with the deprecated MS Online here. So I guess with the next version, this will be obsolete, but I'm not sure. So, and you have several options to connect to Exchange Online, to SharePoint Online, to still Skype for Business Online, or to Microsoft Teams. And with the next version, there will be also an option to connect to Microsoft 365 targets via modern authentication.
Yeah. Right. And so I think the idea here is, and what I like to do with these targets to improve performance is having dedicated targets, for example, for Teams and for Exchange Online and for maybe SharePoint, because by doing that, because if you have this target like this and you're marking all the services, then whatever you do, let's say you're only going to do something with Teams. If all services are checked, then Script Runner will try to load all the modules with all the commandlets, and that could take some time. It can be even worse with Azure, right? So if you have all your Azure modules installed, and then the Azure target would go into into the modules that are installed, and everything will be loaded. And that's why also on the Azure target, you can decide dedicate. If you want to do something with VMs, you can make sure that only Azure.compute is loaded. And you might say, okay, you can already do that in the script, which is true. So you can always decide if you want to keep this kind of what I like to call the PowerShell logistics, if you like to do that and keep that in your scripts, or do you want to put that into the target, which means that you don't have to have this logistic information in your script, and Script Runner will take care of based on your selection in the target which modules need to be loaded. And
yes,
so
indeed.
that is something that definitely improves the performance when it comes to how long does it take to load the modules, establish the connections, and then actually run the scripts. That's I think an important topic here, and that's true especially for things like Office 365 and Azure, and also maybe to mention that the reason why there is no caching is that with each execution of a use case of an action, there is
a dedicated process.
Yeah, there's an instance in memory creating a PowerShell session, and to make sure that if you have things happening in parallel, that if one thing maybe fails, something goes wrong, that the others are not directly affected. So that's the reason why we the way we implemented that. But I think the question, because it's also about it states to start the actions faster, and that also can have another implication, not just about the modules, but also about the queries. So let's say you have a use case where you want to show a list of all your 72,000 users. So a user can select from a list. Now, to create this list might take some time. And so the queries can work either in real time, meaning I, as a user, I open the use case, I want to do something, and then this query starts to run. And that might take maybe some seconds, maybe in some cases even longer. And that's then, of course, something where the users say, oh, this is not fast enough. That's why we have these caching mechanisms here, right? Yeah.
So and exactly. So you have several caching strategies here in our queries. So they are present in every query option. So I choose the most common, the query with a script, and there you have the automatic cache refresh based on usage. So with every usage of the query, the cache gets refreshed. Or I think the more convenient one is the scheduled cache refresh every X minutes. So you can set up here the cache refresh in 5 minutes, or in let's say an hour, or in 8 hours. So yeah, based on your use case. And yeah, I think this will increase performance a lot. So if you have, let's say, a list of 15,000 AD users, I think it will increase the time of the results, of having the results to
yeah, it's almost immediately, right? So
almost immediately. Yeah, you're right.
So
Okay.
this is really when if the topic in the question is really to start actions faster, in the sense of having a faster dialogue, that's definitely a very good way to improve and get the best user experience, so that users don't have to wait until these lists pop up and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so I think about is there something else we can comment on when it comes to modules and cache? Maybe something there are different areas in the solution where modules play a role, obviously with the targets, but also in the actions, right? You can manage, if you can always do this in your scripts, but you could also do that in the script runner action, where you can decide if there is a module that you want to be preloaded, just as you can do that also with a function, with a library script, with your functions. But you could also choose dedicated modules to be loaded based on the action. And this is just to show that there are, again, and that's I think this is a common theme with PowerShell. Typically, there's not just one solution. There are always multiple solutions, and this also is the way that how you can use these things within Script Runner.
So yeah, you can use it within Script Runner, but there's just one little disadvantage to use it in Script Runner instead of loading or importing the module within the script. So you do not have the option to choose the version here.
That's true. Yeah, you have more control if you do it in your scripts, for example.
Yeah.
But let's say if you have just one version, or you always want to make sure the latest version is being loaded, then you can do that. But you can always go back and do these things in your scripts, as we said. So there are multiple options, and to help you to achieve, what you want, basically.
Yeah.
All right. So I think we would move on to the next question. So I will stop sharing your screen. So it's going to be just the two of us again.
Sure.
And just we had another, just the two of us. Okay. We didn't talk about singing, right? But maybe that's the topic for the next one. When we have, just to sneak this in, if we go, because we're going to have a special guest in the next session. who is very musical as well. Anyway,
is he? So I know him, but I haven't talked to him yet. So
we will not we will not give it away today, but there will be a special guest. That's for sure. Okay, why not move on to the next question that we received, which is a very kind of a general one. It is, what is PowerShell secrets management?
Yeah, PowerShell secrets management is basically a PowerShell module to manage your secrets. So you have a bunch of commandlets where you can manage your secrets with. It works best in combination with another PowerShell modules, the PowerShell Secret Store. It's Secret Store, or well, no, it's Secret Store. And so you can with the PowerShell Secret Store, you can create your own secret vault or secret store where you can save all your secrets. And with the PowerShell secret management module, you can manage them and you can use them in your scripts. So, but there is not only the option to manage your secrets with your own vault. So there are a lot of third-party vaults where you can manage the secrets with PowerShell secrets management. And I do not know all of the vaults, but if you go to the PowerShell gallery, I'm sure Heiko can provide a link to the PowerShell gallery. There you can just search for the PowerShell secret management or just secret management, and then you will get a list of all vaults where it can be managed with or which can be managed with PowerShell secret management.
Yeah. So
currently I'm working on a documentation for PowerShell secret management in combination with ScriptRunner.
Yeah, so that's what I wanted to say. So in general, I think the secret management, it has been, I put in the link into the chat when it got generally available, which was last year in March. And the idea is to solve this ever-present topic of, okay, where do I keep my credentials, my secrets when I want to run a PowerShell script? And I think it's a good idea the way it's implemented, and also the fact that it's a module that works for PowerShell 7 and with Windows PowerShell 5.1. I think this is an important topic, and to make so you know that it's something that also is backward compatible to the Windows PowerShell, and as Markus said, it's also something that, of course, makes sense to use in combination with ScriptRunner, where, of course, credential management is important. And so, and there are, as you mentioned, there are already a number of guys from the community who build additional connectors for this secrets management. I think for KeyPass, I think, and for OnePass,
LastPass, 1Password, HashiCorp, and a lot more.
Yeah.
So
and I think we can also provide 2 links to videos where the secrets management is also explained. One is
so if you want to go more deep dive, so you can watch the videos from John Saville, from Mike Kanikas, and they explain very, very well what is the thing with PowerShell secrets management.
Yeah, so the first video, it's about 20 minutes, I think. The other one, for Mike Kanikas, I think it's a session that he held at the New York PowerShell user group. It's what I think an hour 40 or something. So he really dives into the topic quite a lot. So, but I think both videos are really helpful to see how PowerShell secrets management module can help you managing your credentials and your secrets. Okay, so
Exactly.
I would say next question. What do you think?
Next question. Yeah, sure. Why should I use Cloud Shell?
Ooh, Cloud Shell. Yeah. Well, I actually, do you want to start answering, or should I?
Yeah, it's not my daily tool, the Cloud Shell. So I think there are use cases to use the Cloud Shell, but it's not my daily business. So I use it when I do not have a notebook or something like that present. So if I lay on the couch with my tablet and there's something wrong in my IT infrastructure, so I can use a browser and the shell to manage stuff. So that's the the only use case which came in mind for now. But I think there are a lot more. Maybe you have another one.
Yeah. Well, the thing about Cloud Shell that I like is that it's just it's like PowerShell anywhere, right? Because you just need a browser, and if you go to shell.azure.com, you can simply start a shell and work with PowerShell. And by the way, you could also work with Bash. I'm just trying to open one so I can show a little bit, because I think it's really, normally at least, it's a pretty straightforward process. But as usual, if you want to show something, then okay, now here, okay, something happens. So I would just share my screen here. So yeah, here I am in yeah, it's as you can see here, it's portalazure.com sharp Cloud Shell, but what I actually started to type in was shell.azure.com, and what I get here is a little Ubuntu machine that is being started temporarily for me. And if I do a version table, you can see that's one thing that I like. You're always on the latest version. So this is where Microsoft takes care of. It's typically really the bleeding edge versions, and you can see here in the operating system, it's a little Ubuntu machine, and it just allows you to do ad hoc things. I mean, I would not recommend this to do high task, high volume operations. But if you just want to do some things here in Azure, for instance, get some info about your VMs or something, that's pretty cool. There's even a little editor. Well, it's very basic, but it's nothing. It's not nothing compared to VS Code or something like this. But you could prepare things like little one-liners where you want to maybe look for VMs, for example, that are not started, and you just want to start them. And so to have this little helper script files, so to speak, that can be really helpful. And you could even use that on your smartphone. I think even in the Azure app there is access to the Cloud Shell, and also in the docs there are things in the if you're at docs.microsoft.com and you're doing the explaining things with PowerShell, there is a little icon at least at some areas that says try it, and then you will see a side by side. On the left side you will see documentation, on the right side you see the Cloud Shell, and you could already start using PowerShell and follow a little bit at least what the documentation says, as long as it's around Azure. That's of course the main thing, even though you could also connect to Exchange Online. So once you are in the Cloud Shell, you could also connect to your Exchange Online tenant if you have one. I don't have one in this installation here, but it's possible.
Okay, yeah, but it looks quite handy. So I think I should use it more. But but to use it on the phone, I think it will be challenging. So
here you need to
yeah, sure.
it's you don't want to type 20 lines of PowerShell on the smartphone, but for little one-liners, I think it's really it can be helpful. Just as I said, talk things, and you're not at your laptop, you're somewhere, and you have access to a browser. You can start doing these things, and the only thing that you need to remember is that when this Cloud Shell is inactive for I think 20 minutes, then it will shut down, and which is typically not a problem because you can just open another one.
Okay.
But so for that, this is just something you need to have in mind. But that's it actually.
Okay.
Yeah. So I really like the Cloud Shell for this little ad hoc things once in a while, and it's just something that I think is good to have in the toolbox.
Yeah, sure. So if I ever come to the situation where I do not have a real PowerShell, so I will try it.
Yeah, do it, Markus. Yeah. And there's, by the way, there is also, I think it just pops into my head. There is a good also blog article from Thomas Maurer explaining Cloud Shell, and so it's always worth looking at his blog, and especially also for the Cloud Shell. There's some interesting contents there.
There was a situation where I used the Cloud Shell, and this was in the Learn path for the Azure Administrator certification. So in this path, there you work with the Cloud Shell.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, because for them it's the easiest way because they know it's available for everybody. They don't need to worry about have you installed the AC module and stuff like that because it's just there. Yeah. Absolutely. All right. Okay.
Okay. So, next question.
What else do we have?
Okay. What was your favorite MS build session? So the favorite MS build session, to be honest, this year I don't had so much time to attend to a lot of sessions, so I just watched the PowerShell 7 session of Sidney Smith and Jason Helmick, and yes, it was very interesting. So there were some news and some stuff I already knew, but they mentioned the ISE mode for Visual Studio Code, and yeah, I like that a lot. I work a lot with Visual Studio Code, and yeah, I like that ISE mode because it feels familiar to the old ISE, and yeah, there were some interesting stuff like the predictors of the PS Readline module, and yeah, maybe you can say something about the session too. You watched it too.
I watched this, but on demand. So I just like you this year. I really didn't attend any live sessions, and I mean, build is of course mainly for developers. So, but of course, the PowerShell is typically a topic there as well. And maybe I just reshare my screen here. So if you look for PowerShell in the session catalog, you will see there are 2 sessions coming up. the one that you mentioned is the one for PowerShell 7. I think it gives it gave a good overview about where PowerShell comes from, where it is right now, and also about the things that they're planning to do. At the end, there was one slide, small font writings about all the things that they have on their roadmap, the things that they're working on, that they want to publish and go forward in the next couple of months. So this was really impressive. A lot of things that they're working on. And then there was another session, which was a roundtable, which unfortunately, at least when I checked the last time, is not available on demand yet, because this is a topic that everybody who is in using PowerShell with Azure is kind of interested in, and we are having this topic as well internally, upgrading your scripts from Azure AD PowerShell to Graph PowerShell, because this Graph is the new thing, right? So and hopefully this will be available, or maybe there is another way to get this hands on this session, because I'm sure that would be a very interesting one to help people to move from the Azure AD PowerShell to Graph.
Yeah, so this will take place in our daily business in the near future, I guess.
Yeah, it's the thing that will stay, right? I think we talked about Graph the last session as well, and we said we hope that Microsoft is continuing to make things better and easier when it comes to using the Graph. So we know that there is a lot of information available via the Graph, but the way to get there to make it work is still it can be improved, right? But
sure.
So these are the two sessions, and the one really interesting was about PowerShell 7, and just to also mention that, because what I always like to do is when I'm in this have access to the connection zone, especially, what I'm doing is always I'm searching just for PowerShell and to see, how many people are having PowerShell in their profile, meaning they're obviously doing something with PowerShell. So here you can see we have 80,000 plus attendees, and now I'm searching for PowerShell, and then it's 25. So that's it's like a little disappointing. And there's of course Sydney, right, who did the PowerShell 7 session, and a few other guys, but
a little bit disappointing.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe there are going to be more when for the Ignite or something, where it's more infrastructure and IT Pro content. But this one, okay. It is what it is. So, but this session, this PowerShell 7 session, I would say it's definitely worth looking at. I think it's about 35 something minutes. It gives you a good overview about the state of the shell, so to speak, and what they're planning for. Yeah.
And if our audience have another session we need to see, just let us know.
Absolutely, because maybe we just didn't. Obviously, we cannot see everything, but maybe there was additional. Today I read a comment on Twitter about MS Build where somebody said he was looking through the catalog, and he was saying he sees a lot of sessions around deployment and not so much about developing. So he recommended that instead of calling it MS Build, call it MS Deploy.
So maybe they can start another convention, MS Deploy, besides the MS Build.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. To have to go full circle, the DevOps circle, right? Yeah, absolutely. All right, okay. I would say let's move on to the next question. It is, what do you think about the install PowerShell RFC? When I when we received these questions, I had to look it up first because actually I didn't see this RFC, and it's a pretty new one. So
I'm honest, I haven't read it, so I can't say anything about it.
Yeah. So as I said, as we received this question, and just to come back to the beginning, if you have questions that you want to send us up front, please do that, and we will put that link into the chat again. It is, I think it's a good idea to share my screen again to show that. So as I think also the last time we talked about that, or one of the previous sessions, when it comes to PowerShell 7, especially big organizations have issues with deploying PowerShell 7 compared to Windows PowerShell, which is just on every machine, right? You don't have to do anything. Windows PowerShell is just there. And we know that the guys from the PowerShell team work extremely hard to get that PowerShell 7 into the operating system, but this is obviously a long-term process. So this will not happen overnight. And so I think the idea of starting this RFC or install PowerShell by Jason Helmick is the idea here is, I think, to get away so that the installation of PowerShell 7 becomes easier as it is right now. And if you go through the article and also the motivation, it's exactly what it says. It's about giving a possibility or developing a possibility where PowerShell 7 can become and easily become, or easier as it is right now, to become the standard PowerShell in these environments. And so I think this is an extremely good idea. And the RFC is still open. I think it's open until June. I think it was stated in the beginning. Yeah, it's open until the end of June. And so we can already see people have commented on that RFC. And I think if this is going to happen, it will be a big help, especially for big organizations, to make the move from the Windows PowerShell to PowerShell 7. So I think I will also put that link into the chat. So if you want to read it and if you want to post some comments there, just go to that GitHub page where the RFC is published, and so you can take a look. Okay, what's the idea? And you can. I think that was one of the things also takeaways from the PowerShell 7 session at Build, that they were really looking for feedback, and that's why also they have their monthly community calls, and that's the great thing about the Microsoft PowerShell team. You have direct contact with these people, which is really awesome. I think, given that Microsoft is, this giant organization, but you have a chance to directly interact with the people whose job is to work on PowerShell. That's really great.
Yeah, great.
All right. So
really great. Okay.
There's a question that I think is targeted towards you, Markus.
Yes. So Timo asks, what PSConf EU session are you looking forward to the most? Oh boy, there are so many sessions. Just let me get my list. I made a list for it.
You're prepared.
So I do not have the one session I'm looking forward the most. So there are some sessions. And I've sorted them from Monday to Thursday. And there is, in the beginning of Monday, there is the PowerShell security session from Friedrich Weinmann.
Mm-hmm.
And there is another session, AMSI is 4-letter word that stops PowerShell attacks. So I think it's obviously a PowerShell security session as well from Sergey Chubarov. And there is another session on Monday, optimizing Visual Studio Code for PowerShell development from Justin Groth. And on Tuesday, the Tuesday begins with how GitHub can make your PowerShell process easier from Barbara Forbes. Followed by mastering Azure using Cloud Shell, PowerShell, and Bash by Thomas Maurer.
Okay.
And then there's another session on Tuesday from the field, building a secure script with Graph API, because the Graph API is really a thing currently. So this is also a very interesting session. I'm looking forward to it, by Andreas Hähne. And yeah, this is the only one I already met on the Collab Summit last year. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this session. So and on Wednesday there are only 2 sessions I'm really looking forward to. This is the PowerShell Mythbusters. By Sidney Smith and Jason Helmick. So they are doing a lot of stuff together, I guess.
Yeah, I think so. They're becoming more and more like the dream team of the PowerShell.
Dream team, PowerShell dream team.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so you're gonna have a lot of fun, I think, meeting all these people in person.
For sure.
Yeah.
And there are a few more sessions. I'm nearly at the end. So there's on Wednesday is the using REST APIs via PowerShell by Guy Leach. And on the last day, on Thursday, there is my story on how I got into automation and why you should do the same. I think this is a very important session for us.
Yeah.
It's by Alexander Holmset. And then is the Microsoft Graph++, the missing module for working with the Graph APIs by James O'Neill. And the last one is getting started with Git and GitHub for the reluctant IT pro by Thomas Forten.
All right. Okay.
So there are a lot more sessions. But these are the ones I am looking forward the most.
Okay, so that sounds like a full schedule. So
sure.
So that sounds interesting, and I will, you will do that while I'll be on vacation, and I will hopefully get some info when you're back, so we can talk about all the stuff that you learned. So we already talked almost 45 minutes. So I think we can actually. Shall we do it, or shall we keep it for the next session? I'm not sure.
No, I'm just in the flow now. So just let us answer one last question.
Okay.
So not regarding PowerShell or something like that. So there's the question: what's your favorite band? And I think this is the most difficult question to answer here.
We need another hour, I think, to answer that.
At least.
At least, yeah, absolutely. Okay.
What is your favorite band? If you just have to answer with one band. I knew it.
Okay, so this is an easy one. If it's just one, it has to be this one, right? So that's my all-time favorite, the first favorite band I got when I was 10 or 11 or something. But of course, there are many more good bands out there. But AC/DC is still this is the the main the one that got me into rock music, I would say. Yeah. So how about you?
So yeah, I really wasn't sure what I should answer here. So the band which brought me to rock music was Metallica. So it's still one of my favorite bands, but it's not on the first place. So the on my first place, always favorite band is Tool, the band Tool.
Okay.
So
Okay.
the
Okay.
first time I was listening to Tool, I guess I was 11 or 12 years old. And they have such a special sound with with metal, progressive rock, and yeah. So I think there is not even one shitty Tool song. They are all great,
Okay.
and I've listened to them so many times. I guess even more than Metallica or AC/DC or whatever famous rock band you will know. So Tool is my all-time favorite.
Okay, so you know what I will do when I'm on vacation? I will go to Spotify and listen to Tool.
Yeah, so
And
they
then-
have all albums of Tool. So
Okay.
the complete
Discography. Or
yes,
yeah,
I missed the word for it. The complete discography.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Cool. Okay. So we could even cover the last question.
Yeah, sure.
Cool. Excellent. So thanks for everybody who is watching, and of course it's still available. Will be available as a recording. And again, for the next session, please use the form. Follow us. Follow Markus. Follow me. Follow you. Follow me. Use the form to send us your questions. And yeah, again, there will be a special guest the next time. If you follow us on Twitter or on LinkedIn, you will get all the info right in time. And at the end of June, beginning of July, we will have the next Ask Me Anything session. And so until then, I would say, keep on scripting, right?
Keep on scripting. Thank you, folks, and see you next time. By the end of June. Bye bye.